Alrighty then, exercise one. Now, here's a sort of a finished version of exercise one right here. And so this has to do with line and value. And the thing is that it's really unusual to have any element by itself. You couldn't really. It'd be darn impossible because a line is going to have a value. In other words, is it going to be a dark line, a medium line, or a light line? And this is a very practical thing anyways, to be able to make our lines dark, medium, or light. Okay. Now, as you create this first notebook that you're going to turn in, this is the first thing you get graded on. And so anyways, I want things labeled properly, right? This has to do with craftsmanship. And don't even get me started on craftsmanship right now, because trust me, I'll be talking a lot more about craftsmanship later. But suffice it to say that up at the top, I want it labeled. I want it labeled drawing one, and I want it printed neatly, right? And the title, which is line and value, right? And that reinforces it because that's the vocabulary right there, the proper vocabulary line which separates one thing from another, and value, how dark or light something is. Okay. When you draw it, I want it drawn neatly. I want it drawn relatively large on this piece of paper. You can see this takes up a lot of the paper, right? And then down below, I want your name. I want your last name. Then I want your first name. Okay. Then you might have me for multiple periods. So I want both the periods. So this would be period one and period five, let's say. Or it might just be period one, or it might just be period three. It doesn't matter. Whatever period you're in. And then what is this? This is exercise one. I know we already put it up here, but when I'm thumbing through them, I want it down here as well. Okay, because I've got a lot of kids. Look, I got like what, 190, 200 kids, so please, it just helps me keep my organization. And the less time that I'm screwing around with organization, the more time I can be helping you. And that's what I really want you to do because I want you to get a lot out of my courses. Okay, so anyways, this exercise right here. Well, as I was saying, the ability to draw light, medium, or dark has very, very practical implications. Now, I did a little cheating. When I was preparing this, I drew a little outline right here of the box I was going to do, right? Just traced it. Now, I don't know, we'll see when this thing's all done, if you could even see the lines that I drew, but I can see the lines. So when you draw a line very, very light, like these ones are, it's called a construction lines because these are the ones that you use to construct your image. And it's really nice to make them super duper light because that way you can change your mind really easily, right? It allows you to make mistakes, which is great. That's what you want. You want to be able to make mistakes. Okay. And it makes it so that either you can erase really easily, or when you're drawing along, maybe on something that's more complex or whatever, you'll just cover those up without even having to erase, and they'll just never show. In addition, when you draw lightly like this, you do not crease the paper, right? And you can erase marks, you can erase, the pencil lines that you create. But if you crease into the paper by drawing hard, that you can't get rid of, right? Okay. Anyways, so how do you draw soft? There's a technique to it, okay? So most of us draw as if we were writing like this, and that's great. That is how you write your name, write something else. You have a lot of precise control over that pencil. But you automatically, when you're doing this, are putting a lot of pressure on the tip, right? And so instead, you want to be drawing from way back here. Now look at where my hand is. It's way back here. That way there's very little pressure on here. Well, if that's too crazy, maybe over here. The point is that you're just getting away from the habit of only using this pencil in one way, the way that you've always used it. Oh, and by the way, speaking of pencils, this is the pencil of choice, right? This is a wooden pencil, good old-fashioned kind, way, way, way better for our purposes than a mechanical pencil, okay? Because a mechanical pencil, it only gives you, here, let's do a little sketch here, all right? Here's our wooden pencil, right? And it's got this tip right here, and this tip is very durable. Okay, it's thick, right? And it's good, this good old number 2 HB, it's a good medium. And if you got more expensive drawing pencils, they come in different softnesses and hardnesses and wonderful. We'll talk about that some other day. Maybe take the drawing class and you'll find all about it. But what's more is that not only is this tip more durable, but you get this very precise tip right here, but you also get this whole side that you can work with. You also get the wood that you can work with. On contrast, if you've got a mechanical pencil, okay, it's got this, right? And this graphite here, this little lead as they call it, it's graphite, it's not lead, but there it is, very brittle, breaks very easily. You're always click, 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 click. You only get one tip. That's it. The wooden pencil, very durable, right? And you get 1, 2, 3 surface areas or more to work with. Mechanical one, very fragile, and it only gives you the one tip. So I strongly suggest that you invest your dollar over the dollar store, right? And just buy yourself some wooden pencils. You get like 12 of them for $1. I mean, come on, man. You can do that. Everything else is free. You can do that one. Okay, so that's wooden pencils. Anyways, and holding it back here or even here, whatever, just not maybe at that tip. It's just so much harder to do it at the tip, and I'm trying to teach you the easy ways of going. Okay. Another thing is drawing with your whole arm, right? I'm moving my whole arm as I do that. That is a great way of getting really straight lines. Okay, so those are my little construction lines, and I'm actually created a shape here, right? And I've defined that with my lines. Okay, so now I'm going to start by just filling this area really light, really light. Try and get those lines nice and parallel, about the same width apart. And you know why? Because you're training yourself. You're training yourself how to really manipulate the pencil. So oftentimes people will say, well, I can't draw. And my answer is, have you ever actually tried? Okay, so there's my light. I'm going to label it light. Okay, now I'm going to go with medium. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more pressure. Not super dark though, but a little bit more pressure. Okay, and I'm telling you what, you want to do a good job of this, because when it comes time for us to put in the old grades, if you just done a quick job of this that doesn't look very neat, I mean, it doesn't have to take forever, but it's got to look neat. If you haven't given me some craftsmanship, then either you won't get a very good grade, because you didn't do a good job. Why would I give you a good grade? Or what's worse is that, I'll just make you do it all over again anyway. So, don't be lazy. Okay, so now I'm going to go dark, right? And so when I go dark, I might go over things more than once, right? And so really get in there, really darken those things up, right? Do those lines like you mean it. These are obviously finished lines, right? Those light lines were your construction lines. If you had to call the medium lines something, I guess you could call them your shading lines. And your dark, those are your finished lines, right? Those are your lines of emphasis, right? You're really making a statement with those lines right there. All right, so those lines, there they are. They are dark. Just really, they're really dark, right? Who knows? You might even go over your lines again. I mean, just really, let's kill those lines, man. Just make them dark. Okay. Now, when you're all done with that, then I want you to make sure that you get these lines here. Remember, these were just construction lines. And this little chart is a little drawing. Here, let's label this medium. Make your labels neat, right? Why not? Everything that you do, might as well do well. Your time's valuable, isn't it? Okay. And, okay, so back here, I'm going to make that nice and dark, because that's my finished line now. Now, you might be wanting to use a ruler right about now. And I'll tell you what, you want to use a ruler, that's fine. Here, I'll give you a great little cheat for a ruler. If you just take a piece of paper like this right here, right? Just give it a fold and another fold. And this is a great little straight edge. And it can even be used, you could mark one thing, let's say, oh, I want all these squares to be the same size, and use that as your measurement. As you can see, my squares are not exactly the same size. But, so there you go. And it's cheap, you use it, and when you're done, you throw it away, whatever, right? I don't have a lot of good rulers in the classroom because, kids, right? They wreck things. Oh boy, kids. Anyways, but you know what? You'll always have a ruler if you use this. Me personally, I hardly ever use rulers. I mean, once in a while if I'm doing something really technical, but why? People say, "Well, I can't even draw a straight line." My answer once again, have you ever actually tried? Okay. So that's looking pretty good. Here we go. And you'll notice that I draw every line with intensity, with intent and purpose, right? There you go. There you go. So good enough. Here, let's get this right in here. And that's a pretty nice graphic. And what have we done? Once again, we did drawing number one, so label it. Drawing one. And what did that involve? That involved line. Very important. Label it. That's how you learn. Line. When you put a name to something, you remember it. And what else? Value. So line and value. Line and value. Okay. Now, who is it? Who did this? Well, you did, right? So put your last name. Why do you put your last name? Well, because that's how it appears in my grade book. Duh, right? Okay, and then your first name. Okay. And the period number. Maybe you're in period one. Maybe you're in period, I don't know. Maybe you're in period two. Whatever period you are. If you were in more than one period, you might put period two and period four. I don't know. Whatever period you happen to be in. And what was this? This was exercise number one. So we'll put EX1 right there. And there it is, relatively neat. It's got, well, not relatively neat. It's got to be neat. It's got to be neat, right? It's got to be labeled all the way correctly good. And that's exercise one, having to do with line and value.